Hey, what's up? You're at Tabletop Syndicate. I am not Joker Prime. I was about to say that again. I think that would have been the second video. I'm Squintz, and this is Joker Prime.
What's up?
So we've been enjoying our top 5 series. We're going to be doing another one in this video, and we're going to be doing a DC one. Pretty exciting.
Yes.
And Joker Prime, I'm trying to give you a little preview with
yes.
a shirt. Yes. So we're going to be doing flashes. We're going to be looking at our favorite top 5 flashes. Now, as we've said in other videos, it's not always just about the strongest clicked piece. Things like, you know, sculpt and playability, like being able to actually just play it on several teams. The fact that we've played it and had fun with the piece. So there's a lot that goes into our list. We'll do top 5 and we do honorable mentions. So
Yes. Well, you want to get us started?
Yeah, absolutely.
So, number 5?
So my number 5 might be pretty interesting, especially considering what I just mentioned about power. I put the Flash God of Death as my number 5. That is a 63 from Harley Quinn set. It was a chase, and so in that set they had several chases that were like the God of Knowledge, which was a Batman, the God of Power, which was a Superman, so on and so forth. And Flash was the God of Death. Now, he's super powerful, so like he's fun to play, right? In terms of you're wanting to win, or at least increase your chances of winning. So that's really cool. I do that. His sculpt is amazing. He's carrying, like, is that supposed to be, it's like a scythe? It's like a lightning.
Yeah, it's like a Speed Force scythe.
Yeah, which is amazing. It looks awesome. He's like all black and he looks evil, which, I mean, God of Death, that would make sense to me. So I do like all of that, right? He's super strong. He's quintessence, which means he can't be outwitted. And so, like, if you're wanting to like build a team that is gonna have a very, very good chance of winning, definitely I would have that Flash on there.
He's awesome.
Absolutely. It's just one of those things where when I think of Flash, if I build a DC team, I normally am thinking more of like, hey, just the traditional Flash, kind of a goofy guy, just running around really fast, punching people in the face, and doing some damage, but not like just completely one-shotting people. I mean, this guy does 4 damage, which, you know, Flash fans that are like super fanboys are like, he is the most amazing and he can beat everybody, which they have some pretty good arguments. But he's maybe, I would think he's maybe a little too overpowered for me as a Flash character on teams that I like to build. Plus he's 125 points. So that is some of the reasons why I put him at number 5.
But he's like the best costed god.
Well, true. The other gods from the Harley Quinn set are like 200 and whatnot. So that is a good
God
point.
of Death is like 225.
Oh gosh, I forgot he was above 200. So that's my number. And he has hypersonic, which I love. Obviously, he's going to move 14 squares. So that is why he's my number 5. He's super powerful, but maybe a little bit too powerful for some of my teams that I want Flash on.
All right. So my number 5 is the JLU Flash, and it is from the starter set. So
nice.
They had a really good starter set in that with that set,
right.
And it's cool because all of them had something special. So founding member, so he gets speed +2 if your force has 4 or more characters with the Justice League keyword on it. And then for all friendly characters that can use this trait, you get action total +1 if your force has 6 or more characters with the Justice League keyword.
More action total is really good.
More actions, and then Flash getting extra speed. But the main reason he's my number 5 is because of his special movement ability. It is hypersonic speed, but it also is power, improved movement, ignores characters. And then you can move him up to his speed value. And after you move him, you can make a close attack targeting all characters he moved through.
That Flash, okay, yes. Okay, nice.
So I just like it and think it's really cool because it's like, you know, he's speeding through everyone, hitting everyone on his way by. And, you know, you kind of picture that from some things, him just going super fast and beating people up while he's hypersonicking through there.
I was like thinking of like the cartoon show right now. Just he does that all the time.
And so I just like that special speed ability they gave him. I feel like it's really accurate to the Flash. And on top of that, he has perplex and then prob, and then of course super senses.
Absolutely.
So,
now, when he does that special speed power, is
yes.
the damage value locked at like 2 or something?
So it is. It targets all of them he moved through, regardless of adjacency. Instead of normal damage, you deal each hit target 1 penetrating.
1 penetrating. Okay.
Then knock back each hit character 1 square in the direction of your choice.
Which the knockback, when that card was released, was better in my opinion. They've kind of nerfed it.
It was, but now it's. But the direction, now you can position opponent characters.
So position-wise, that is amazing. Yeah. Absolutely.
Yeah, you used to be able to deal damage with the knockback, but
Right.
still, that's pretty cool. So
That is really cool. I think it is very true to the character.
he's my number 5.
Sweet. Do you want to jump into 4?
Sure, I'll move on to my number 4, which is the super rare Flash from Wonder Woman 80.
Nice.
He is really cool. He was like a, was it championship piece?
Yes.
I think it was from Team Sealed.
Right.
So
they got to design it.
there were 3 of them, and they won, so they got to help design this character. And it's really cool what they did with them, though, because, you know, there's some different people who had the Flash mantle or different Flashes, and they sort of designed them to be, each of them took a dial with a different type of Flash in mind and kind of designed that small dial. So it's really a low-cost character coming in at, well, you get the first one for 30 points,
So
and
cheap.
then for only 20 more points, you get the other 2. So for 50 total points, you get all 3 of the Flashes.
So 3 different clicks on the board.
Yeah.
Dang.
Each have to be on a distinct starting line, though.
Right.
And so the first one has a special speed power that it gives them improved movement characters, and then it gives them charge once per turn when the Flash uses it. After resolutions, he may charge as free. So he can charge, improve movement ignoring characters, and then after he uses it, he can charge again.
That's good.
So that's kind of cool. And part of that is that's when Hypersonic got benched.
Yes.
So I think that was kind of their way to get close to Hypersonic. And then just in cap, in cap, super senses, and leadership with the rest of that dial. The next starting line gives him stealth, quake, combat reflexes, and then a special damage ability that gives enhancement and outwit.
Huh.
And then free,
gosh.
improved targeting over ignoring or improved targeting elevation hindering characters. Choose an opposing character within 6 squares in line of fire. This turn, lines of fire drawn to that character can't be hindered.
Okay.
So you can essentially pull a character out of stealth.
Interesting.
Or take away their bonus from hindering, things like that. And then the final dial for this guy, and he also has police and team player team abilities, so those are handy. But the final dial starting line for this Flash is sidestep, a special attack ability that is telekinesis, and when the Flash uses it to place a friendly character, after resolution, you may place that character within 2 squares in line of fire of their current square.
Nice.
So a little bit like Mr. Oz, not quite as powerful, but it's cool. You can TK someone, and then so it's like he carried them in and ran back or something.
Right.
And then yeah, I said sidestep. It also has energy shield deflection and then probability control.
Prob is awesome. It makes sense.
So 50 points for 3 of those guys, all with all those different starting lines, is a lot of stuff.
Yeah. See, it's after you going through it, I'm like more sold on it. I remember when I first saw it, I was like, dude, it's only so they only have 2 clicks of health. Like, so you hit them for 2 damage, they're dead. But 50 points, you get 3 characters with all that utility. That is awesome, and it reminds me of like shifting focus, but a little bit better potentially, because shifting focus, like you can only have 1 of those characters on the board at a time, versus this you get 3 different characters on the map.
Right.
And so, and I like that you mentioned the police team ability, because it requires to have multiple characters with that team ability. So if you have the 3 Flashes, they all have the police team ability. They could use the police team ability by themselves.
That one they don't have to have. So like,
you're right.
if it's just next to one of your characters making a range, it can see the target. But it's still nice because like the one Flash is kind of
a range character.
A little bit. I mean, he's kind of safer from range. They don't really help each other.
Right.
But
that's pretty sweet.
Yeah, they can, like the one has enhancement, I'm pretty sure I said. So he can sit next to somebody and help reduce their target's defense and increase their damage on a range attack.
Right.
The other one can help position it and prob it, so they're just helping everybody out.
Yeah, it's like he's everywhere, and like there's 3 of them, so that again kind of holds true to his character. So that I honestly, after you explaining that, I'm a little bit more sold on that because I was like, I could take it or leave it.
That was my number 4, though.
Okay,
so
sweet. I'll jump into my number 4. My number 4 was the Flash from the Batman animated series.
How do I know he'd be on your list?
I know, right? Batman animated series, number 38. It was, I believe that's an uncommon, I believe. No, it's rare. It was the rare. Sorry, it was the rare. So when I think of Flashes, I just think of basically someone who can run really fast and do some damage. And so with this character, I mean, if you're thinking just purely character, this is kind of just one piece, just a one piece, and it kind of represents what Flash was in the TV series. Like, I think they did a fairly good job. Not overpowered, but could be very annoying to deal with. So he does 3 damage, which is nice because there's so many Flashes that only do 2 damage. And so if you're trying to hit someone who has a reducer, you're just like, well, I guess I'm wasting my time. And so I like that they gave him 3 damage and they gave him prob. Having probability control is always really nice. And then what I did also like with his special damage power that has prob, they also allowed him to get like a free placement. Because what happens is, if he uses prob while someone's attacking him and the attack misses, he can place himself within 3 squares in line of fire of the attacker. So it's pretty cool little repositioning. It's like, hey, you tried to hit me and you missed because I made you prob, or I probbed you, so now I'm gonna move over here, and that can be super annoying to mess with someone that can just move around the board. Like,
so is that part of the same ability?
That's part of the damage ability that gives them prob. So it gives them prob and the ability to place if they miss because of probability.
Right.
So I like that. And then, so if you do get close and are able to attack him, that's great. But if you're trying to range this guy, he's got an 18 with energy shield. So you got to get up in his face, which good luck doing that. It's possible, but a lot of times if you position your hypersonic guys correctly, well, at least the way I try to, which it doesn't always happen, the way I try to is I try to like run him up, hit him, and then run him back into safety. So like if you're gonna run up and get him in Flash's face, you're probably surrounded by my team. It doesn't always happen that way because of certain things that happen in the game, but that's what I try to do with my hypersonicers. And so it's like, hey, if you want to get in his face, cool, I'm about to just destroy you with the rest of my team. And good luck ranging him because he's a 20 from range. So very basic. That's one of the reasons why I liked it, but it's also one of the reasons why it's number 4 is it's kind of just super basic. Flash could be maybe stronger than that. However, I do like, it's weird, like I like the simplicity, but I also put him down lower on my list because it is maybe a little bit too simplistic.
Yeah.
So,
all right. So that was 4.
That was my 4. You want me to go to my number 3?
Yep.
All right. So my number 3, funny enough, is from the same set, but it was the Chase from the set, the Batman animated series Chase.
Yeah.
And so yeah, exactly. So he's set. Oops, I clicked the wrong one. Darn. That's okay. He's the trouble alert ones. Yeah. And so like that's one of the reasons why I do like him. Let me pull up the right one really quick. I accidentally clicked the wrong one, and now I'm having.
Should be up.
Yeah. What am I doing here? What happened?
It's not showing Batman animated on your list.
That's silly. Technical problems, everybody. It's fun. Everything's fun. There we are. So, anyways, I thought the sculpt was really cool.
Yes, it is.
And so anytime they make a Flash where like behind him you can kind of see a blur, I think that's really cool. So that was one of the reasons, very small portion of the reason, but I do like it. So he's only 60 points, very cheap. And then he could be even cheaper if you call him in from your sideline. So I do like that. One of the reasons why he is number 3 on my list is because if someone has sidestep and they go against that Flash, they get like +2 to their attack and then +2 to their defense against the Flash, which they did that with all of the chases from that set. So it's like, hey,
all the trouble alerts have a weakness.
A weakness, exactly. So like, say this character could be called in from the sideline for very cheap, but then if you're playing against someone who has certain powers, then they're going to have a better time hitting or damaging that character. So that's why he ended up being number 3. But some of the reasons why I have him number 3 that are good, not negatives, is he has hypersonic, obviously, which I love. He has the wing symbol, right? There are a few flashes that they have made that for some reason don't have improved movement, and I don't get it. And so giving him the ability to have the wing symbol means that he has improved movement. So he doesn't have to worry about getting stopped by hindering or having to stop while running past characters. He's also breakaway, obviously, but I do like that he has the wing symbol. And then he has probability control, and on his top dial, he has a 3 damage. So again, he can actually give someone at least 1 click of damage if he's hitting someone who has a reducer, unless it's impervious. But Joker Prime's looking at the dial, and he has precision strike, and that's one of the bigger reasons why he's above the Batman animated series piece that I just went over, the rare, is because precision's awesome with a flash, because even if you do have a 3 damage, if you try to hit someone who has impervious, they can impervious that roll, or they can super sense it. So with precision strike, it reduces their chances of super sense, and it also guarantees at least 1 damage against people like against someone who has impervious. And so even if they roll a 5 or 6, it doesn't matter, they're taking at least 1 damage. So I really like that. He has hypersonic, which I think all flashes should for the most part, and he has probability control. Anytime you can get prob on your team, I think it's awesome, especially on one of your main attackers. So that is why he is my number 3, is because he can do some damage, some of it being, I guess you could argue, guaranteed with precision strike, unless someone super senses it, but that's not easy with precision. And then he's kind of difficult to hit. He's got an 18 defense with super senses, which could be outwitted, but hopefully you kind of run in there, hit him, and then run him into safety to where someone can't outwit him. But there are ways around that for sure. Yeah. So that's why he's my number 3.
All right, my number 3 has already been mentioned. It is Flash God of Death.
Nice.
I mean, I guess when I explain my 1 and 2, I'll explain why he's not higher up.
Okay.
For a long time, he was probably one of the highest on my list for this. He, as we mentioned, is awesome. The sculpt is amazing. He mentioned the Speed Force scythe, but he also his face almost looks like skeletal, his mask in a way. And I think he's got like Speed Force coming out of his eyes even.
Right.
So the sculpt is just amazing. Something I don't think we mentioned when you were talking about it. I was like, oh, I'll wait for my turn.
Yeah.
He's got like traded steel energy.
Oh God, I forgot about that.
And precision strike. So and I think prob. So he's like got a really good chance at hitting and healing. And I think he's even got another trait that lets him heal something. We might have to pull him back up because I'm trying to remember at the moment.
That's the thing, is like he's so insanely strong.
One of the biggest things that Squintz did mention is quintessence. So now, with quintessence, he gets to roll to clear a token.
Oh, that's the new rules. That's right.
And then he also is protected outwit, which I really like my, well, it'll be an honorable mention here in a minute, spoiler alert, but my Flash, Red Death Flash, the Batman Nightmare Death Metal Flash. But the last couple times I've used him, Squintz is like, no hypersonic outwit.
Yeah. And that's annoying.
So it's like, well, he can't do anything right now. And this guy can't do that too. Oh yes, all of the gods have a special trait that takes something away from opposing characters, and his is opposing characters within 6 squares and lower points cannot be healed.
Yeah. So if you're banking on being able to heal, that's super annoying.
And then the other thing that I was trying to remember a moment ago, part of his trait with the steel energy, when an opposing character is KO'd after resolutions, heal the Flash God of Death 1 click. Period. When an opposing character's KO'd, he gets to heal. He doesn't even have to be the one to do it.
Right.
But if he KO'd the character and the character was 75 points or more, he also gets to remove an action token. So
insanely strong. And
then he's got the regular precision strike to start. He doesn't have prob to start. He gets that later on.
Oh, he does. Okay.
But when he has prob, he has a special attack that is also precision strike, but free. If he has 0 or 1 action tokens, make a close attack.
There you go. Free attacks are amazing.
And he's got phase with that. So he can phase in. And then if he only has 1 action token after that, make a free close attack.
Yeah, and then it's like he moves with 13 squares. So from 13 squares away.
His lowest speed is 12, and that's his very last click. He starts out with a 14.
Nice.
So
phases in from 13 squares away and gets a free attack. That's amazing.
Yeah, he is awesome. And on top of that, with phase, he's got JLA team ability, so he would actually be 14. So technically, his lowest movement would be 13.
True.
His whole dial. He's got basically 14 his whole dial.
That's really good.
And again, his sculpt's amazing. Speed Force Scythe, he is just sick. Protected Outwit. Unless you take away Quintessence, which they've started giving ways to do recently, but he's cool. He's cool.
Absolutely.
So
was that that was your number 3, right?
That was, yes.
Okay.
I guess I'll move into my 2 then.
Yeah.
My number 2 is from Wonder Woman 80 again, and that is the Chase Blue Lantern Flash. So old Blue Lantern Flash I liked, was really cool, good sculpt. The new one, even better. Obviously updated, more relevant. The way they did the new lanterns with the Wonder Woman 80, they can generate a construct, but their constructs are more like bystanders now. So he has free to create a blue fire hydrant, Blue Lantern fire hydrant. This one isn't he has free to generate a blue construct, but the one he comes with is the fire hydrant.
Okay.
And that one gives it a trade that gives it a free action to remove 2 hindering or blocking terrain markers within 6 squares in line of fire. So that can be really powerful to take away pieces of terrain on the map.
Right. But there's other constructs you could generate, which is awesome.
If they get into this like everyone's hoping, you know. But his special speed power, well, obviously he's got prob, which I love, but his special speed is phasing teleport. When the Flash uses it and moves 6 squares or less after resolutions, he may flurry as free.
Oof. Nice.
So you can move 6 squares and flurry. To me, this is better than hypersonic, especially now because they nerfed. You don't get bonus breakaway with hypersonic.
Yeah. So having phase is
I'm moving wherever I want, and then I'm gonna flurry you, as long as you're within 6 squares. So it's like having a 12 movement charge, ignoring everything.
Yeah. You don't have to break away if you're tied up.
You can move through a wall.
Yeah, sure.
Like, you can go wherever you want. And so...
Which is kind of what a Flash should be able to do.
You were talking about hypersonic, but this piece and then another piece have made me think that phasing teleport is my favorite thing with Flash, as long as you give it special, where he can do some kind of attacking with it and everything, because that's awesome. He should be able to phase through a wall, run up a building, go past characters, and hit who he wants. So pretty awesome, pretty cool, sweet sculpt. I love lantern stuff. So he's a lantern.
Like 2 things combined for you.
Yes.
It's like Flash and lanterns.
So that is my number 2.
Nice. My number 2 is the Rebirth Flash.
Oh.
And so he was from Rebirth, a rare number 47 from the set. And this is one that, and I did mention earlier, and Joker Prime just alluded to it. I think all Flashes should have hypersonic, but very, very well pointed out that if you don't have improved movement, it's annoying, especially with the new rules to hypersonic. Yeah. And so, but I think this.
I failed enough when it was improved breakaway.
I know, right? We always roll 1s anyways. Now, this Flash does have improved movement past characters, so even if he loses his phase, which he does have, so he has phase top.
Not just past, it's ignoring characters.
True. Which is different, that is correct. And so he has, his top 3 clicks have phase, and I'll get to that in a second. But then he does get hypersonic, and so if he goes hypersonic and he gets tied up, he doesn't have to worry about it because he doesn't have to roll for hypersonic because he just automatically breaks away from characters. So I think that's really good to get to a Flash for reasons that we just stated. I mean, Flash shouldn't have to worry about that. It's super annoying when he does. Then, now, he has Perplex, which I love because he can Perplex up his attack and make it easier for him to hit. He does 3 damage, top dial, which again is great because it's annoying whenever you play a Flash. They can only do 2 damage, and then everybody on your opposing team has reducers, and you're like, okay, so my Flash is just pointless at this point unless I have Outwit, which you could do, but anyways. So I love that he can Perplex up either his attack or his defense or whatever. Perplex is very strong. And then he has his phase. The cool thing about his phase is, first of all, he has sidestep, so he can move 2 squares. And then he can phase, and as long as, I think it's within a certain number of squares. Yeah, so 5 squares. So technically, really, it's 7 squares, because you can use sidestep, right, and then you can phase 5 squares. Or you could save your sidestep for later. Either way, sidestep is amazing. But once he gets to you, and he decides to make attack, it's a flurry. So he gets to make 2 attacks, which is amazing. The only thing with this Flash that is not as good as some of the other Flashes we've mentioned is he doesn't have prob top dial. And so if you basically need to make sure you put prob on a team because he could potentially miss. But the cool thing about flurries is kind of a built-in prob, sort of, with the potential to hit twice and do more damage. And so one of the reasons why he's number 2 on my list is because I've been brutalized by him and I absolutely hate him.
Even though you know he's like the best Flash you've ever seen.
He's very good, as long as you, especially if you can couple him with people that can give free movement. It's insane. Because all his power says is as long as he moves 5 squares, he gets to flurry. So then you have someone on your team.
He has to phase, I think.
Oh, true. Yeah, he has to phase. So if someone gives him a move action and he phases, he can flurry for free, like not get an action token. So it's super gross, but I hate it at the same time because it's destroyed many of my teams before. The sculpt's pretty cool. Not my favorite sculpt, but he definitely, I feel like, is a good in-between. He's not, I wouldn't say he's overpowered, but he's also going to be doing enough damage and he's scary enough that you have to respect him and either try to kill him or try to position to where he is not as effective. Or, luckily, against this Flash, you can outwit him, which I have tried my darndest to do multiple times after being brutalized by him. So I think that's why I put him as my number 2. I think that he's a good in-between character for clicks, where he's a Flash. Like, he is a strong character, but in my opinion, he shouldn't be that strong. And so I think they did a good job of balancing that with this piece.
Yes. So that was your 2.
That was, yep.
On to honorable mentions.
That's right. Oh, you already did your number 2, didn't you?
I did.
Okay. All right, so do you want to do honorable mentions first?
You can go ahead and
I'll go. Okay. So some of my honorable mentions was the Flash that was already mentioned. I think it was your number 4, the Wonder Woman.
The super rare?
The super rare from Wonder Woman. Yeah. Again, one of the reasons why I didn't put it on my list is because each one of those characters is only 2 clicks long. Now, after hearing Joker Prime talk about it, that doesn't bother me as much anymore because you get 3 characters and they have so much support, so much utility.
You got to be able to hit them to worry about those 2.
And it's only, if you have all 3 of those characters, it's only 50 points. And if you're playing a 200-point game, you still get a ton of characters to support. Support that, maybe protect them, get them out of danger, and so it could be stronger than I was initially thinking. One of the reasons why it was my honorable mention was because, again, I was like, dude, you just gotta hit them once. But you're right, not easy to hit, and it's super cheap to get those on the board. So that was my one honorable mention, was the one from Wonder Woman, super rare.
Oh, you just said 1?
Yep.
That's funny. I almost had 0, but then I came up with 2 that I wanted to talk about. Honorable mention, not because they almost broke onto the list and took any of these out, just because they have something kind of cool or special to Flash that I really like or really think goes great with a Flash. And maybe if they made a newer one that was a little stronger with one of these traits, it'd be even better. The first is a Flash from the Flash set.
Yeah.
I'm not going to quote which exact one because I didn't go that deep on it, my honorable mention. But the thing he has that I like, they gave pretty much all the speedsters in that like speed tokens.
Yeah, that's true. They did add a ton of speed tokens.
And I believe the requirement for almost all of them was if you move and hit a character, you gain 1. Well, this particular Flash, he had a trait, I believe it was, that said you can take his speed plus the number of speed tokens and replace his speed with it.
Nice. So then you can modify after
So you can modify after that, and it's not rule of 3. So you could have, like, I mean, being crazy here, 12 speed tokens.
Right.
Now, if he starts out with, say, an 11 speed, he's got a 23 movement with hypersonic. And
awesome.
So he's not very powerful. Obviously, that could get ridiculous. But it's just really cool that you can make him super fast and you can keep doing that. And they made it replacement.
And not modify?
Yes.
So then, like you said, the rule of 3 doesn't.
So you can just keep on growing that thing. And it, like you said, I can perplex him 3 more times after that.
Yeah. So then you don't have to worry about ever having him in danger.
Yeah.
And then he's always within range to hit you, probably.
You got to build up those speed tokens.
Right.
But, I mean, it's just cool. It's not very powerful on that Flash, but it's a really cool idea. And then the other one, it's not super powerful, but it's really cool, and I don't remember exactly how it works, but it is from Elseworlds. They had actually like 3 Flashes in that. Each of them were kind of cool, had some unique things, but the one that I think is cool is one that essentially, and maybe I just visualize it this way in my head, or maybe it's actually named something like Protecting the President or something like that, but it's something to where basically if he's within range, something to the extent of if he's within range or whatever, you can place him next to a character that would be hit, and he takes 1 damage instead, but then he's like weaker the rest of the time.
Okay.
So it's almost like he runs in and takes the shot, you know,
yeah, okay.
type of thing.
I like
And
that.
sorry, I didn't. It's just an honorable mention, so I didn't look into it that much. But that's something you can go take a look at. What I'm talking about, but that's one of the reasons I liked it. I haven't really used him because he's not super powerful, but he can go in and protect somebody and basically take the shot for him. And I was like, that's really cool. He can run up in there and take the shot.
Yeah, which makes sense.
Yeah.
In terms of the character. So
Right.
nice. Honorable mentions.
Yes.
All right.
So that wraps up our honorable mentions.
You want me to do my number 1?
Sure.
All right. So my number 1.
Probably talked for a while on mine. So.
No, you're good. My number 1, funny enough, is from the same set that was just mentioned. It was the Flash set, and so I just got this piece. I haven't really played it, but it was the super rare, I think. Yeah, it was the super rare from the set, number 50. And first of all,
Kingdom Come Flash.
Yep, Kingdom Come Flash. So he has the Kingdom Come team ability. First off, the sculpt I think is amazing.
Yes.
And so the entire sculpt looks like one of those ones that's like you're getting glimpses of him, and so I love that. Plus, he's wearing his old original like metal helmet,
Like
thing.
Jay Garrick style.
Yeah, it looks like a World War I helmet or something with like the wings on it, and so I love that little nostalgic piece to it. And so just the piece alone, like if this click was not like good, which I think it is, I would just want to sculpt swap it. Like it looks amazing. So I love the sculpt. Second thing, he's a flyer. Don't have to worry about improved movement. I hate whenever Flashes have to worry about improved movement. They get tied up or whatever. Now, yes, he could be tied up potentially. He doesn't break away from characters for free, which is kind of a bummer. But good luck getting to him because he has a 17 movement top dial.
That's nice.
He has a 17 movement top dial. Let's see here. He has the speed tokens that Joker Prime just referenced. For this particular click piece, though, his speed tokens do something a little bit different. Let me see here. So, the Flash's speed value. Oh, no, it's the speed value is increased, which I think most of the speed tokens did.
But it's just increased, right?
Yes, let's see here. The Flash's speed value value by the number of speed tokens. Increase, yeah, increase. So he gets, I mean, he starts with a 17.
Because imagine if he starts with a 17 and then it said replace.
Right.
Like the other one. Woo!
So, I mean, it's just insane. I love the idea of being able to have Flash and safety in the back of the map, run him in there, punch him on the face, and then run back.
Or TK.
Or TK, right? Some of the Flashes, like, they have 14 or 12 movements, which is okay, but, like, honestly, there's not enough movement to run them in and then get them back to safety. Especially if you're playing against a team that has a bunch of range or something. So I do love the fact that he has such a big speed value to possibly get him to safety a little bit easier. He has probability control, which I think is super crucial, especially with flashes who don't have obscene attack values normally. He does have an 11, which I think is amazing, but then you add that to prob, I feel a lot more comfortable running in and hitting with an 11, because, I mean, I miss with 11s all the time. His defense is awesome. It's a 19. You don't see 19s very often, and it's super senses. So if you're lucky enough to roll to hit a 19, then you have to mess with super senses. So he's super hard to hit. You can get him, plus that's if you even get to him in the first place. So I just love that he can be in the back. He can, if you even get to him, you have to hit a 19, and then he has probability control. So it's not easy to hit at all. Let's see here. Oh, that's right. His character trait. The Flash's speed powers can't be countered. So you can't get rid of hypersonic. You can outwit his other things, but it's like he's still gonna be hypersonicking. He's still gonna be running around the map, which I love. He does may remove, so he can remove speed tokens to make a second close attack. So they didn't give him flurry, but it's almost like flurry, maybe even better, because maybe someone outwits flurry. There's no way you can outwit that
because it's his speed, right?
It's his speed power,
and it can't be counted.
Can't be outwitted, exactly. So it gives him hypersonic. He can remove a speed token to make a second close attack, which is awesome. So you get 2 attacks potentially with prob,
and already based 17.
Yep. Let's see here. One more thing, or a few more. Up to 3 times. Up to 3 times per turn. The Flash can be a free action to remove a speed token from this card. When you do, lock his damage value at his current value until the end of the turn. Give him a close combat action as a free action. So later on in his dial, if you get close to him, he has a special attack power that lets him remove speed tokens to make basically that number of attacks. Flashing his super senses. Oh, okay. So then later on in his dial, when he's not as strong, when his defense value is not as good, he's still hard to hit because he has a special defense that gives him super senses, but succeeds on a 3 through 6. This roll can't be re-rolled. So the reason why he's number 1 is because he's not going to be doing a ton of damage. Right? He's not like he's coming in and hitting you for 5 or 4, unless you perplex him up or something, which you can't perplex damage anymore.
And depending on what your defense is, he's hitting twice maybe.
True, right. And then maybe if you position him power, you can boost up his damage. So mostly though, that wouldn't be very easy. You're not going to be doing like a silly amount of damage. But he is super hard to get to, which I think a Flash should be. His sculpt is amazing.
Give him the power gem.
Oh my gosh, the power gem. Yeah.
Now his damage is
plus
+2.
1 damage. He gets close combat expert +1. So yeah.
Yuck.
So I think one of the biggest reasons why I put him on my number 1 is the sculpt, and he has a 17 movement. I think that's amazing. Yeah. So it's simplistic. There were some other ones that were mentioned, like the phasing and everything. That is probably more powerful, honestly.
But this guy still has to break away, right?
Exactly. So a 17 movement on a Flash, I think, is super cool.
It's great until you fail breakaway.
Yes. Yes.
To be honest, I overlooked that one a little bit. He probably should have been on my list. Everything we just mentioned, he's awesome. He has a lot of what we talked about. The sculpt's amazing.
Not easy to hit at all. But neither one of you have played it yet.
Right.
And that's probably why it wasn't on your list.
Also, I just imagine we weren't playing back then, but from what I've seen of some of the pieces around that time, he had to have been just ridiculous.
Oh yeah, because I think that might have been
around the time. Those values alone were great for that.
True. Back then, an 11 attack was actually really good.
A 19 defense.
Yeah, it was stupid.
Insane, I think.
And I think back then, hypersonic, you were allowed to carry characters. Maybe the Flash has not.
And he had prob.
Yep.
And from what you read on that super senses, it sounds like that's back when you could prop things like super senses.
You could prop super senses back then. I think. So like some of you that have been in the game for longer,
he could have probbed his breakaway if he failed, or probbed his super senses. So,
dude,
except for the one that can't be re-rolled.
Right. But with the new rules, he can. Yeah. But that's all right. So that is why he's my number 1.
Really cool. My number 1's been mentioned. And that is the Rebirth Flash.
I mean, I definitely knew that was going to happen. But
partially just because of all of the success and some of the You said he's not overpowered, but some of the teams that I've been able to build around him, he kind of was.
What I mean is, as a standalone character, he's not overpowered. But
right. He's got the potential to get there. I kind of have broken him against Squintz a few times.
Yes.
I feel bad doing that to him in casual, but when I find something like this, I just gotta do it, you know? Like,
you gotta see what
we gotta have these moments sometimes.
Power cap is.
And I think when I first came up with the idea, I did not even realize
how strong it would be.
Much it would. I knew it would be super awesome and super strong, but it exceeded my expectations.
Right. So why don't you explain that?
I'm going to. First of all, one thing you didn't mention on yours was the trait. When the Flash makes the first attack during a turn and hits, until your next turn, other friendly characters with the Justice League keyword can use prob on their own attack rolls.
Yeah.
So if he's the first one I use in that turn and hit with him,
which he's probably going to.
Probably so. Then all of my characters can prob their own attacks that turn. Super strong there. On top of that, he's got improved movement, ignores characters. We already mentioned that a little bit. And we talked about the special speed that gives him flurry, phase, and sidestep. So you may be thinking, well, with that, he has when the Flash uses phasing teleport and moves 5 squares or less after resolutions, give him an all caps close action at no cost. So as we talked about, he can phase in and flurry. The improved movement, he doesn't have to break away to sidestep.
Yeah.
He can sidestep away. So I've comboed him with TK with my Dr. Fates.
Yeah.
Send him in there, bring him out. I've also well, one of my new favorite things after I found this Flash was to find characters that let you move and use an all caps move, or like basically phase. So they can move the Flash, and when they move the Flash, he gets to flurry.
Yep.
And so I found a few characters that let him phase and make a flurry, and then he can move himself and flurry, and then he can sidestep away, or he can get TK'd back out, or I can TK him in. So just ridiculous. And whenever all that happens, you get like 4 free attacks, essentially. I mean, you get 4 attacks. It's not all free, but it's 1 action for the Flash. And then there's ways to get him back out of there. He can sidestep away. He can get carried out. He can get TK'd out. So just ridiculous. Towards the end, and he has perplex during all that. So he starts out with perplex, and then an 18 combat reflexes if he does get stuck up in trouble for some reason.
Somehow.
So he's like a 20. And then he has JLA, so that's +1 to his speed, but that doesn't help him on the phase because he has to only move 5.
Right.
But if you're moving him back out for some reason, and then I don't really use Quake with him to do all that. I guess you could and hit more characters maybe, but it's not precision or anything.
Right.
So, I mean, everything we already talked about. The sculpt isn't necessarily the best ever. It's okay. He might eventually get a sculpt swap because he is obviously my favorite Flash.
Right.
He is amazing. Just some of the teams I've been able to build around him.
Yes, his potential, his power potential is like.
We're not even talking about giving him objects or enhancements or anything like that. Just putting him with characters that can help him position.
Yeah, I mean, the best bet against him, like the only thing that doesn't make him just absolutely like outrageous is he's not protected outwit. However, there is a Batman that came from Rebirth that I think if that Batman is the first to hit, they're all protected outwit. So it's like, hey, if I'm playing against a team that has outwit and my Flash is about to get outwitted, well, I'll give up the prob to be able to hit with Batman first and protect Flash from being outwitted, which is super annoying because not only can you not outwit his move, which is what I would want to do because forget that guy, but then if you do get close to him, you can't outwit combat reflexes, so good luck hitting a 20. And if you range, it's probably going to be difficult to range him. So,
and again, even if you do outwit his move, if you try to base him up, he's got improved movement, ignores characters anyway. So I'll go back out away from your outwit and come back next time.
Yeah. So
gross. He is a blast. He's awesome, and my favorite Flash.
There you go. There's our top 5. Let us know what you think. If you have any Flashes that we forgot, put them in the comment section below.
We probably did.
Yeah. probably.
But yeah, let us know what you think. Like he said, give us your list. Let us know what list you want to see. We definitely take note of those, and we try to put those out, you know, before our next ideas, our own ideas. We try to put out your ideas, so because we love the interaction with these things.
Absolutely. Make sure to like and subscribe.
Yep. See ya.